guys, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here from Nigel's Modelling Bench, and this is part 10 of the Airfix 1/24 F6F-5 Hellcat, and this is the US Navy version. I'm also building a second one in FAA RAF colours, so that actually is a Hellcat Mark II. And what I'm doing is the US Navy version will be wings out, everything open, flaps down, everything. This one will be all closed up and basically wings folded. So not sure how far I'm going to go with detail in the cockpit and stuff on this one, because you're hardly going to see it with the wings up like this. So yeah, it's both very fun builds, enjoying them a lot, and finding it difficult to move away from this to do my other stuff which I've committed to, such as the build alongs and stuff. In fact, I am just now uploading part 7 of the Edard Typhoon build, and if you haven't seen that, go and have a look. If you want to hear me get angry, then yeah, I'm absolutely up to the back teeth with that kit. It's rubbish. Don't ever buy it. Edard 11117. Their new Tempest, and that is a beautiful kit. That thing is a piece of junk, absolute garbage. Don't touch it. So anyway, you're better off getting the Italeri cheaper kit. Apparently it's Hasegawa plastic anyway, because none of the stuff in the Edard kit fits, so none of the upgrades, so what's the point? Back onto this one. So US Navy, Fleet Air Arm, US Navy extended wings, Fleet Air Arm folded wings. So what I've done, I've just gone round and done some, as you know, I like to do pre-shading on everything. So this one's going to be all the dark blue in there, and this one's going to be the sky colour. Now I'm thinking maybe to add a bit of interest, I might do this area in here, yellow zinc chromate, and then just paint the colours in there and let it overspray. And also the other thing, if you remember, back in part 6 I think I did a video called Wingy Bits. I mentioned that you're going to be able to see straight through there. There's nothing, you know, when you put the wing on like this, when you've got your upper wing section on, come on Nigel, get it on, there you go. When you look through, you're just going to look into a void. You look straight through. So in there are fuel tanks. So I'm not going to go to the trouble of making accurate looking fuel tanks, because what you're actually going to see of them is nothing, and I'm led to believe they're black. So I've made these little things up here, and they're little infills. So bear in mind they need to be shorter than this, because on here you've got a bulge, and then you've also got these ribs here, so you need to make sure they cut around those ribs. So they fit in like that, and then the wing will just slot on top like so, and then when you look up inside, as soon as I touch it it's going to fall over, isn't it? I should have put some blue tack in there. But when you look up inside, instead of seeing, oh it is got it, it's trapped it, no, it's fallen out. Instead of seeing straight through, what you'll see is this painted black, so it'll give you an effect of a fuel tank being in there. And then the same on this one. I'm not sure how much you're going to see, because you'll have the upper wing will be on like so. There we go. So when you look up into the wheel bay, I'm not sure how much of it you're going to see, but you can certainly see up through here, definitely. So well worth doing this little mod. Even if you just put something here, just a block of rubber or something, just something to basically stop you being able to see through. And look at the texture on these wings, it's absolutely gorgeous. The riveting is beautiful, the stretched skin, it's absolutely lovely. Note this one's got the locking pin, or the pin there is down, and on this one the pin is up. This is a pin that identifies whether the wings are locked, so if it's down the pilot knows the wing's locked and it's safe to take off. If it's like that, they're not locked. And apparently from my references, I think I mentioned this before, they were painted orange in the factory, but then painted red in the factory, but then they changed them to orange when they were in service. Don't ask me why. So there you go. So I think what I'm going to do is paint all this in here zinc chromate, paint these black and get them in, or perhaps not put them in until after I've painted all around here with the colour. But the problem is I'm going to have to decide at some point, I'm going to have to glue these on, because obviously we've got some work to do around here, we have some filler work to do. I might have to paint this area here, paint that area in there, and then glue it together, and then do this area here separately. We shall see. So let's see how I get on. Right then guys, Before I paint it, I decided to glue these flap actuators in. Because the FAA one is folded, the instructions tell you that you use the F parts here, F parts 3 to 6 for your folded wings, so they're flaps up. This one, as I say, the US Navy version, everything's going to be open, everything hanging out. Powered down, I think they would droop anyway because they were hydraulic. So there we go. So they're in their drooped position. How well they're going to fit, I don't know. I'm not going to take it off and test fit, because if it doesn't fit very well, it's just a case of sanding. And what I'm thinking, I'll get some zinc chromate paint in there as well, because when you look up through the gap through the side, you'll probably, I don't want to see grey plastic, I want to see zinc chromate. So there we go. Next is going to be painting. But right now, it's 9:15, it's Saturday night, I'm going on a pub. Good morning guys, it's Sunday, and yeah, I went to the pub and had a few beers, and now it's Sunday and everything's good. Right, something else I thought of before I do any painting. On the wings folded version, we have to put these front end pieces in before we add the top. Now they obviously form part of the inner wing structure. Here's this one, I've done this one, and I wasn't going to bother taping it, but it's quite a sort of pain really to fit them. So what I thought I'd do is just show you what I've done. For a start, I've thinned out the plastic on the back to make it look less chunky, so that sort of looks thinner there, as you can see. And then basically when you glued this in, if you've got any glue oozing or anything, you need to clean that out and make sure that joint in there is all nice and clean. I've taken a bit off of the, well, I'm going to take a bit off the back of here, because when you fit it in, it kind of sits forward a touch. So I'm just going to sand the back of this just to make it sit a bit further in, so it sort of doesn't jut out of the front of the end of the spar. So that's a bit better now. And then also we need to take some material away from this corner. Excuse me. Take some material away from that corner, just to make sure it sits in nicely. Okay, and it'll go in like that. Now, as you can see, it's a mile away from the top because it needs to be pulled up. I've just noticed we've got a bit of a step on there as well. I'll just get that out. Now what happens is when you fit the upper wing and you tape it all together, it actually pulls it all out. Remember I said it all sort of stretches up together? So really what we need to do is glue this in like I've done on this side, but only glue it to the bottom of the wing. Okay, because basically if we try and glue that in there, we can either glue it to the spar like that and have a big gap at the bottom, or we can glue it to the wing, and then when it pulls up it'll just join that spar. So what we can do is, while we're doing our painting and touching up and everything and weathering, we can deal with the main joint at the bottom, and it'll only be that little tiny area there that will need some glue after it's all painted, which should be easy to touch up anyway. So what I'm going to do is check the fit there. Yep, that fits great. So I'm going to put the upper wing on like so, squeeze it down nice and tight, and then a big piece of masking tape. I give it a proper stretch, just knock that peg off of that one, and you can see how much these wings need to be manipulated to make them work. In fact, I think what I'll do with this end is tape it. See if that will hold rather than the peg. Let's get another bit of tape here. Okay, and then I should be able to slot this in here. Like so. And then what I can do, I'm going to put a clamp, a little tiny clamp, it's always the same, isn't it? When I'm on camera and I need something, I can't find it. Here we go. I'm going to put a tiny little clamp on there, just to hold the top in, and then put some extra thin on the bottom, and let that do its thing. So I'm going to have to leave that to set for quite a while, because it's just going to want to pull away. So that's going to have to be left now for a little while. I haven't put that together properly, but never mind. God, I've used a whole roll of 6mm masking tape on this model. So yeah, so they're a little bit troublesome, guys. So if you are doing this with the folded wing, I would suggest fitting these now before you paint all this up. And obviously I can't fit the upper wing because I want to get in there and put the fuel tanks in after it's all painted. And the other thing I'm sort of struggling with, there's a video on YouTube of a Hellcat factory, and there is an image of a guy working here, and this area here is painted glossy blue, and all this in here is green. Now, I know the undercarriage bay would have been blue, but did they paint it afterwards? So I think I'm going to go for the zinc chromate yellow in there, and then spray it all blue and let some overspray go on the zinc chromate and see how that looks. I'm not 100% sure, and I can't find anything that proves otherwise. So the wording I've got, all the research I've done basically says, depending on batch run, it could be zinc chromate yellow, it could be interior green, you know. So apparently they were all, anything that didn't have a window in the side, the little window, was zinc chromate inside the fuselage. Everything else was Grumman grey, which is a light grey. And then, like, all in the engine bay and everything was all, it could have been green or yellow. And apparently some models had a black coating on the cowling forward of the middle of the two cylinders. So yeah, real difficult, this one. There is no set thing. All I can find is that US Navy specification stated that no part of the aircraft exposed will be green. So I'm guessing that's the same as when the wings are folded or unfolded. If you know different, please let me know. Okay then, guys, so I have been filming this as both together, but now I've decided to split them up into the US Navy and the FAA, because basically here's where the big differences start to happen. So here we can see I've got the main wings, and that's one of the beauties of this kit. If you decide to do it wings down, they give you complete wing sections. If you do it wings up, you get this section here, okay, for the fold. But then if you do wings down, you don't have to worry about, like with the Trumpeter Corsair and that, and trying to get all the nice joins and everything. They've done that for you, it's there. So yeah, nice job Airfix. I may sort of work on some of these panel lines and just make them a little bit more defined, I don't know. But basically we can put all this together now, and we can see that it all clips into place, which is good. But you can see it's lovely in there. So and before you all start shouting, he's done it by green and they're supposed to be blue. Yes, I know they're supposed to be blue. I've done them green because that's how they would have been done in real life. They would have been primed in green and then painted in blue. So my plan is to paint in blue and let the green just bleed through and show through in some of these areas, like in here and everything. Let the green sort of just show through. Try and make it a little bit, I don't know, like it, you know, they probably weren't built to absolute perfection. There was probably overspray and stuff. I don't know, but I'm just imagining that this is my model, and it's basically, as I keep saying, it's a canvas for me to sort of make pop. And I mean, it's going to be inaccurate anyway, because I'm probably going to have it all armed up, all open, with all the engine covers and everything off, which would never be like that in reality. So, you know, whatever. I just want to build a lovely looking model, so that's the plan at the end of the day. So yeah, stick with me. One other thing, I've mentioned this in both FAA and the US Navy videos. I did a video earlier today about these intakes, making this up as one ring. Couple of things. You'll notice that some of these pipes push the push rods over to one side, so they need to be shaved out a bit more to get your push rods nice and straight and in line with your cylinders or your valve covers, rocker covers should I say. So yeah, that's one thing that needs to be done. And the other thing is, people have been asking about the resin core. The master's made, the carcass for the mould is made. I'm literally just waiting for the silicone to arrive up so I can pour the mould. So hopefully it'll come tomorrow. So hopefully I can get the mould poured tomorrow, and then I should be able to start making these on Wednesday. Today is Sunday, so don't worry. As soon as I have a means of getting them to you, I will make it known on here. I may sell them through eBay. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So that's that for now. I'll be back in a minute when I've got all this painted blue. And there we go, all painted blue, and as you can see we've got green coming through. So I want to be able to see the green. It may not be absolutely true to fact, but I just want to be able to see the green. And as you know, I've made these little blanking plates which go in. It's just a piece of 20th plastic card, and that's going to slip in there like so and represent the fuel tank. So when you look up in there, you don't just see like fresh air, you actually see something in the way. So they'll just be put in with a couple of drops of glue, and then when the when the wing top goes on, what you'll see is that. So you can see in there now you've got the blue undercarriage bay, there's bits of green coming through, which is what I want. This here isn't painted because I'm going to go in here and do some work on these ribs and finish them off nicely, and also get some Mr. Surfacer in these seams, so we got a pretty jointless look. Fit's not fantastic, it's good, but it's just not quite as good as it could be. It's not Tamiya, but hey, you know, if Tamiya made this, it would be £300 I expect. So there we go. So and just to compare, if you do make those little things, then this is the difference. If you don't have them, you get that daylight look through there. When you look up in, you just see nothing. So I don't know if you can see up in there, can you? Yeah. So yeah, I think it's well worth making them. Just pull that one out. So all that is a piece of plastic card cut to fit in there, and then painted with matte black. Apparently the fuel tanks were matte black. I guess they were coated in rubber or something. So there we go. There's the blue with the green coming through. So I'm happy with that. Not shiny. I may give it a gloss coat, but I'll do that once all this around the back is done as well, and then give it all a wash and a bit of chipping and weathering and stuff, because I'm not really sure how much of it's going to be seen. And as I say, don't forget these bits of tape, guys, really important. Keep those hooks covered up. Okay, so I'll stop there and come back when I've got these fitted, I guess, and then we'll start getting them all glued together. Right, it's Monday now, so there we go, another week. Hopefully this week those HGW belts are going to turn up. And some good news, guys, it's done this afternoon now, it's nearly tea time. I've made the mould this morning for the engine core for this part, so that's going to be coming out tomorrow, so we'll see how that looks. So I'll keep you all posted. Right, so I'm going to give this a gloss coat, and I'm also going to need to put some green in here, I think. So what I'm going to do is get some gloss on it. I've put those panels in to represent the fuel tanks, and then thought, well, if I put a gloss coat in there, it's going to get glossy on the fuel tanks. So decided to mask them up now because they're glued in. I've got some little supports in to stop them falling out as well. So yeah, got some paper over the front to mask them up. So yeah, a bit of a stupid mistake there. So I'm just going to get some gloss in there just to give it a bit of a sheen, make it a bit more shiny. What doesn't help is this very rough texture on the plastic. If you put enough varnish on there, you can get a really glossy finish, but I'm not really going to go overboard. I just really want to get the areas, spray them this way, because once the wing's on, as you can see, you can't get anywhere near any of it that way. So what I'll do is I'm just going to give it a quick splash of gloss that way, and I'm going to mask this off and get some green on here, and then we'll go from there. Right then guys, I've got the gloss coat on. I've also put a little bit more blue in here because there was a few areas that were a little bit too green. Something that's a little bit annoying, I missed this. There is an ejector pin mark there that I've just sanded out with the paint tool. I can't sand it right out. I'm going to have to put something in it, which is a shame. But it can be seen when you look up inside the wheel bay. You can see up in there. It can be seen. So basically, yeah, I wish I'd noticed that before. Because I saw this here, I thought this cross member was going to cover the spar was going to cover it, but it doesn't. So I'm going to have to put something over that. I cannot stand to see ejector pin marks. I know it's in the wheel bay. You'd have to turn the plane over and look over an angle to see it, but I know it's there now, so it's got to go. If I'd noticed it after I put it all together, I would have been really annoyed. So I guess I'd just be thankful. So I'll get some filler in that, let it go off. I might just use a drop of super glue actually for speed, paint it blue again, and then we can look at getting these wings together. Right then guys, this is like a Paula Abdul song here. It's just 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, I think. So I've rubbed out those ejector pin marks now. As I said, in one of my first videos, you'll be very, very careful using super glue on these ejector pin marks because the Airfix plastic is so soft that you'll just basically end up with a bowl, just what I've got there. I've got a little tiny lump there, so I'm just going to very gently sand that out. You've got to be so gentle with the sanding stick, otherwise you will just push the plastic away. And if I can try and show you here with a rule, I might be able to show you. That's not too bad. But what you can end up with is actually the ejector pin mark being like a raised area where you've rubbed the plastic away around it. So be careful of that. The other thing I noticed when I was looking through the instructions here, when you look, this is the FAA one, and you can see that on the front of here we've got these are the aileron controls, I believe, and they're it's like a rod, a pull rod, pull me pushy rod, and it's just a moulded on sort of ridge really. So when you look at it from there, it looks pretty crap, to be honest. So I mean, it's great that it's there, but it doesn't look like a rod. So, and you get all this extra plumbing to go in there anyway here. So when you actually look down in, if you've got all this cover off, you can see down in there quite a lot. So and I'll probably be adding some plumbing into all this area. So what I've done is removed it, and basically if you look on this one, put them back to back, you can see you've got a raised area here going along with 3 rows of rivets on it. There's actually 2 rows on that part, sorry, not 3. No, there are 3. There's 3 rows of rivets shown on there. So what I've done, I've actually sanded all that off, cut it all off, and then I've replaced that raised area with the with plastic card, and I've got some Archer rivets. So I'm just going to put 2 rows on because I don't think that 3rd row there is correct. I don't think I'll be able to fit 3 in there, although maybe I will, I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, yeah, so basically I've just recreated that ridge because it's basically moulded down in behind that raised area which replicates the rods, so it's easy just to sand it off. And I've got some Archer rivets here. Yeah, I've got some of these Micromark Archer rivets. I think they're Archer, aren't they? And they're for model railways really, but you can use the rows to make your own patterns. You've got the here we've got the staggered ones, but I think they're too far apart. There's some more staggered there, there's some staggered there, but they're too close. Again, staggered too close. So I'll just have to make up my own. But I bought these years ago from America, and there's one lot, and there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 packs of them I bought. I don't quite know why. I think it was because of postage. The postage was so expensive, I may as well have 15 packs as one, so I've got all those now. They'll come in handy for something or other. So I'm going to use these on there, see how they go. I've never used them before. I believe they like to go down onto a primer coat. No, they want to go on a gloss coat, so So I'm going to spray a gloss coat on there, let that go off, and then I'll put these decals on. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, hi guys. Sorry, it just rivet count in there. Okay, as you can see, all done. I've used these rivets. I think they're Archer rivets or whatever. But they came from the that American company I showed you just now. I can't remember the name of them now. Micro something. So I'm really happy. I mean, when you consider, when you look at them close up, what I had to do, they came in strips, I had to cut them into 3 strips. So that is basically 3 lots. I've put 2 layers there and then 1 in the middle, and then loads of setting solution, and they've gone down lovely. I think with a coat of paint they're going to look superb. I've also put some Mr. Surfacer in this gap here to improve the look of that, and then gone over it with some thinners to leave a sort of line. It also got some vertical runs of rivets there. So I think now, when I put my rod on, so there's going to be a rod here, obviously a piece of wire, rather than a moulded on piece of plastic. I think it's going to look a lot better. So there we go. I'm not going to bother painting and priming this now, because the next thing we've got to do is put the wings on. And basically, when we put the wings on, we're going to get another seam, which I'm going to have to do the Mr. Surfacer trick on again. Okay, so I'm going to get these wings glued on now. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is make sure all this is nicely blended in. So I'm just going to gently sand over all the areas here where the wing's going to join on. Make sure there's no bits sticking up or anything that's going to affect the fit. Remembering it's not flat, it's an airfoil. This area here is pretty flat, I think, but also get the paint off that joint as well. Just go over here. Remember, there's supposed to be a step there, so don't go sanding that down flush. And this will improve our gluing immensely. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to come in with a knife, just gently remove some of this paint. Actually, there's a step on there, almost feels like an ejector pin mark or something. And it's the same on that side. So there's something else we found with this model. Make sure you sand that joint nice and smooth. These little intakes here, they're the fresh air intakes for the cockpit, so they'll need to be all doctored up and everything once we've got the wings together. Now, I wonder if there's an ejector pin mark on here as well. No, it doesn't look like it. Obviously, this is the full upper wing section I've got here, so I'm building this with the wings out. So if you're going for wings folded, obviously this is the incorrect thing to be doing. So we can get this wing in place, like so. It's not going to take much, and I think what I'll do, I'm not going to bother too much about taking the glue out of this area in here, because I can over glue it from behind and it'll really bond in. I think what I need to do is just remove that ejector pin mark there in case it's raised, and it is slightly by the look of it. Just remove the paint from here. I'm also going to remove the paint from here. This isn't 100% necessary, guys, but it's just on a major area like this, it's good to know that it's not going to pop apart on you. Yeah, that ejector pin has got a slightly raised edge if you look, so that needs to be sanded out. Okay, so let's see how this is going to fit. I think the other thing I'll do is just get in here and just remove some of the paint from in that joint there. Also along this edge here. And today is a good day. Today is Tuesday the 9th of July. Yeah, 9th of July today. And last night we went over 4,000 subs, guys. So thanks very much for that. Some growing very, very fast, this channel. Really chuffed with it. Thanks to all the patrons out there. I put a message out to you guys and a lot of you have replied. So thanks for that. And yeah, really, really going well, really happy. Things are going good. So, it's great to hear from you all. And I'm really enjoying all your comments. Very interesting subject from Peter Wilstein, if you look back through, I think it's the last part of this build. Interestingly, he doesn't seem to be having any problem with bulkhead fit, which I find unbelievable. Now, Peter is a experienced modeller. He's by no means new to the hobby. He knows what he's doing, and we know each other through various forums. So I know he's not winding me up, and I know he knows what he's talking about. But it's very interesting that he hasn't got the problem with the bulkheads, and he also hasn't got the issue with the short shots in the cockpit on those side stringers or supports. So yeah, very interesting to hear about that. So if anybody else in North America has got this kit and they haven't got the same issues as me, let me know, because I'd be interested to know why here in the UK, because it's not only me, there's been comments. It was actually somebody told me in one of my first videos that they'd seen something on Facebook that a guy had issues with the fit of the bulkhead behind the cockpit. Now, it was also interesting, I had comments that people had had issues with the fit of the tailwheel bulkhead. Now, I haven't had any issues with that at all. As you know, that fitted in lovely. I know we've got issues with this kit with the paint. If you put a thick coat of paint on, it will not go together. It's like wingnut wings in that respect. But very interesting comments, guys. Very interesting to hear what you've got to say. So anyway, get this little wings glued on. Let's get the wing out of the way so we don't damage the surface. So I'm just gonna put some glue on here. Oh, the other thing I've done, guys, while I think of it, I've gone in here with a pin and I've marked the position of those holes where the pylons go. So if I decide to put pylons on here or even fit bombs, then I've got those marks there. If I decide not to bother, then I can just roll over that quickly with a sponge and it will disappear, or roll over it with something sharp. So if you can see something dangling here, that's the mic I'm using. That's the iPhone. I was thinking Microsoft then. What am I talking about? That's the iPhone mic. So that's what we're trying now. Again, sound quality seems to be the big issue with this using an iPhone. Get plenty of glue in there. And we'll be careful I don't get it oozing out everywhere, because that'll look awful. Okay, so if I can get a couple of clamps on there. Oops. Just clamp that into position. Not worried about it using at the back because it's not going to be seen. Okay, so that's that clamped into position, and then we can come along and hook this wing up under. It's a very nice fit, I must be honest. kind of feels like it's not clipping in properly there, so I'm just going to get a knife, open those holes out slightly, and if it still doesn't clip in, I'll just cut these legs off because I don't really see their purpose, to be honest. Because once all this goes together, this gets glued to the bottom of the cockpit floor, and it's going to be as strong as anything. That's better. See, those legs have gone up in the holes now, whereas before they weren't. So what I'm going to do is clamp this in place, like so. Put some glue in the back. Then get a clamp on there. It's gone together well. So holding it together hard so I don't get any oozing. Just going to put some glue up under there. And then I can run some glue along this centre seam. Whoa, 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 hold it there, hold it. Right, you've just seen me glue this wing on, and I've had to cut it off because these actuators for the flaps were getting away in the way of the trailing edge of the wing. Then I noticed that because all they have is this sort of slot location in here, like that one goes in there, actually that goes in there. Okay, all they have is that slot location. There's nothing to control their attitude like this. So what I noticed was one of them, I think it was this one, was holding the wing away. So I thought, well, I'll sand the top of it and make it fit. That's absolutely fine. But then I noticed when I looked at the back, sort of, they were exaggerated. They were kind of like this. And the flaps would have been all over the place. So my advice to you is to go back to your instructions, and when you get to the bit where you're building the wing here, okay, don't fit those actuators at that point. Fit the actuators at the same time as you fit the wing. Now if you do the wing like I've done and just glue the centre section first and let that go hard, okay, you can easily open this up, and this is P2. You can easily open this up and get these in. Okay, I mean these are all broken now, but luckily, I'm fortunate, I've got two kits. I've got spares, so I can use the spares. You can get them in like that, and then hold that down and glue them in place like that, and that will get them in the right position and parallel. If I just show you on the other one, there's P1. Slot that one in there, like so. Push the wing down, and you can see now everything fits perfectly. Okay, and your actuators are actually in the right orientation with the wing, so they're not all over the place. Now these have obviously been in and out, so they're a bit smaller, so that one's got some play in it, look. But once I've got the new ones in there, it'll all be firm again, and I can get them in the right place. So yeah, pretty good tip, I think, for you guys. Change your build sequence, slot those in. You obviously can't glue the trailing edge up because then they won't go in, will they? No, they won't go in if you glue the trailing edge up. So what you need to do, I mean, you could take some off the top if you wanted to, but when you're ready to glue the wing, you'll be able to slot them in. That's the wrong one, that one goes in there. You'll be able to slot them in into position like so, and then you'll be able to glue the wing down nice and flush. Alright, So anyway, I did actually do a finish of this and say cheers and thank you and everything, but I've had to cut that short because obviously I've had to come and separate this wing again. Now I'm going to clamp it into position because I've soaked it all with liquid cement and to get it all apart, so now the plastic's a bit soft. So I'm going to clamp it all in position so it holds that position as it all sets. So then it'll be just a case of just popping it apart again. But at the end of the day, luckily, as I say, unfortunately I've got two kits. I've got a spare pair of wings if needs be. So we'll see. Yeah, so there we go. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. I did say in my last video I'm amazed, my last segment should I say, that I've had to delete. 73,000 views now on this Hellcat stuff. It's quite incredible. So yeah. Oh, and by the way as well, the resin mould is made, and probably today I'll have a video up of the resin engine core. So if you want to start getting them off me, you'll be able to as soon as I get that video up, and I'll tell you how to order them. So thanks for watching this. This has been part 10. Looking forward to part 11 where we get the wing fitted together. So I'll see you all then. Bye bye.